watching Cloud Security and Concepts. Today, we are talking about a business scenario where Microsoft comes to the picture. Microsoft has a requirement sometimes based on the customers that they have to migrate from one tenant to another tenant. So, this is the business requirement sometimes in multiple scenarios in terms of compliance or in terms of business mergers. So, this tenant to tenant migration will be performing following the Microsoft document and article that they have provided. Even though I understand that the document is not pretty clear, and then everybody wants to have a reference, a kind of demo environment where you'll see that things are working and how exactly they are working, right? So this is the video that I am working on for a tenant to tenant migration, or you can say cross tenant migration, right? So from Microsoft, one tenant to another tenant. Now, for this, if you guys see, there are some requirements, the system requirements that will have to follow. Yeah. Number one is Microsoft article that I will be sharing in the link as well. Plus, the document is available online if you can find, cross to cross tenant migration or tenant to tenant migration. So then you will come on this particular article. I'll be sharing this link as well, so it'll be easier for you guys to understand. Then next is we would need PowerShell. Okay. The third is the source tenant global admin. So we won't be able to perform this activity without the global admin credentials. The next one is required is a destination tenant global admin. So we also have to have a destination admin on the destination tenant where we will be migrating to. The source tenant will have all your emails, all your mailboxes from where you will be migrating, and the destination we will be getting the all the migrated data, right? So we would need both the details, and I'll show you. So for me, I've got source tenant created with this name. Yeah, the tenant name is cloudredteam.onmicrosoft.com, and then this is the global admin credentials that I have. Same follows as on the destination tenant. So here I have cloud blue team on .microsoft.com. Yeah. So source tenant, destination tenant. There are a few mailboxes that we have here in the source tenant. Okay, I'll be logging in one of them. Let's log in on this user just to see that the data is available there in the mailbox. So let's go to office.com, or we can also go to outlook.office.com. Let's close this. Let's put the email ID here and then password. Okay, Outlook. And then if you guys can see, there are a few emails. So now since this is a demo environment, okay, I've got less emails here, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, it doesn't really matter that how many emails you have. I have already migrated the emails which are more than 100 GB as well. Okay. Um, One important thing that I wanted to mention here, um, in this demo, I'll not include the archiving data. Okay, so the primary mailbox, if you have, that will be migrated within this demo environment. If you guys want to see the environment where you have an, the archiving mailbox, which is the additional license that you get on the in the form of online archive. So that also, if you want to see, there are like few additional commands that you have to run when you're preparing the source and the destination tenant, and that's it. And then the whole data of your that particular mailbox, the secondary mailbox or the archiving space will also be migrated. Yeah. So in this demo, we are not considering that at the moment. So whatever the primary data is, if it is 50 GB, 100 GB, whatever it is, it will be migrated. Yeah. After the migration, there are a few steps which are important, which is domain registrar, login details to change the MX records, SPF records, and other DKIM, DMARC records, which will be you will be setting up the domain on the destination tenant as well. Of course, when the source tenant you have to discontinue, the destination has to either the same domain or a different domain where you will be migrating to in case of company mergers, right? Perfect. So let's get started. And the last one is the approved downtime from the management, which is very important. Without that, nobody performs this activity. And yes, during this activity, when we are performing, as of now, you guys understand that tenant to tenant migration is something which is newly introduced. So the tool is not 100% ready. So there are some limitations. You'll have to change your user names from the domain name and then move it to tenant name. All right. So with that, you'll have to inform your users when you want to log in. You log in here, and then the domain name email ID actually, which comes with the domain their domain name. Let's say user1 at the rate companyname.com or .ae dot whatever. Yeah. So that will become as an alias. Now with that alias, they will be still receiving those emails, the new emails. All right. But for login, it is preferred to use this account or this way to log in on the account. For me, since it is a denim demo environment, I don't have any domain which is connected to this, but this can be done. So if you guys have any questions, you can drop the comments and then I'll reply. All right, let's take a look on the source tenant and the destination tenant. Yeah, this is my source tenant in the black window. You can see these users, the red team. This is what we discussed. All right, and this is what we have logged in here in the Outlook. So cloud red team. Yeah, and then the destination is complete blank with no users at the moment. Okay, cloud blue team, no users at the moment, right? Perfect. So now, um, the first thing first, what we need to do is we need to create an application, okay, that will be performed in the destination tenant. So just this is the clarity that we will have to start from the destination tenant. So it is similar like we'll have to create an application, okay, and then we have to give this URL to the source tenant that this is what the approvals that I'm giving it to you to perform this activity, and then on the source tenant will have to accept that. All right. So once again, this activity, the next step that we are performing will have to start from the destination tenant. One more thing that I want to mention here, there are a couple of things which are in process. Okay, don't change the process if you guys have already followed or if you have already worked on a couple of things in terms of application creation or application registrations under your Azure AD platform. Even if you know, don't follow your own certain processes. Follow the document. Otherwise, when I did this, I had a lot of challenges because I was also doing it for the first time. But then I got into multiple experiences, and then now I understand that how it works. But if you guys are doing it for the first time, don't do it yourself. Follow the document. Follow the document step by step. Click the page where it says, write what it says, and command has to be exactly the same what is asked for. There are few parts on this document is not correctly mentioned, like I'll show you guys. The couple of commands which they have mentioned that should be running on the source tenant, and then actually we need to run on the destination tenant, probably this one. Okay, probably this one. And then there is a couple of things which like this one. So if you follow this space is not required. If you follow this, copy this and run this on the command prompt, you will not find the results. Okay, so just make sure a couple of things here. The document is still has to be updated. I really can't ask Microsoft to update it on my behalf, but yeah, they will realize this. I had a call with Microsoft team earlier, and then I actually told them. But then they will take their own sweet time. I don't know. All right, so let's get started with the first step. Once again, prepare the target, which is the destination tenant, by creating the migration application and secret. All right, let's get to the destination. Okay, need to go to portal.hr.com, document, click on manage Azure Active Directory. Click on manage Azure Active Directory. Okay, so Cloud Blue. Now, on the left navigation bar, select application registrations. So select application registrations. Now, click on new registration. Click on new registration. Right? Now, we'll have to type some name. We'll have to write some name of this application. So let's say cross tenant migration. So, okay. And then here in this option, we'll have to follow this account in any organizational directory, any Azure AD directory, which is multi-tenant. Here we'll have to select web and then https office.com. Let's match these values. So here we have selected this multi-tenant and then web office 65 and office.com. This doesn't really matter to have the same URL, but I have not seen anything, as a if it can create some problems, but then it's fine if they're saying this. Okay, on the top right corner of the page you will see notification pop-up that says app was created successfully. All right, so let's register this application and let's see if the app is created. Done. So app is created. Now we would need this as an application ID. Let's copy this and paste it on the notepad. Okay, now for document, go back to homepage, Azure Active Directory, click on app registrations once again. So let's go back and home and then click on app registrations. Okay, now after this, under on applications, find the app that you have created and click on it. So on applications, okay, under app registrations, find your application. I If there are multiple applications, you can search here, but since it is a new tenant, we are performing this activity on the destination tenant, so probably you will have this activity for the first time and this will be the first application. So let's click on this, come back to the document. Under essentials, you'll need to copy the application ID, which we have already done, to create the URL for the target tenant. Good. Okay. Now, on the left navigation bar, click on ABI permissions to view the permissions assigned for your app. So let's go back. API permissions. These are the applications. So these are the permissions which are given to this application. We'll have to remove this. By default, the user read permissions are already assigned, which is not really required. So let's remove this. Okay, done. So once done, we'll come back to point number 14. Now we need to add permissions for mailbox migration. Select add a permission. Add a permission. Here we'll have to select API, which my organization uses, and then select the application permission. We have to select Office 365 Exchange Online. Let's come back. APIs, which my organization uses, Exchange Online. Oops, oops. Okay, what was that? Office 365 Exchange Online. This is where we are. Now we'll have to select application permissions. Click on application permissions. Look for mailbox here and for mailbox and migration. Mailbox migration. Okay. and then click on add permission. Click on add permission. So done. This is, I've already done it. Okay. So add permission. Now select the certificates and secrets on the left navigation bar for your application. So certificate and secrets. Now we'll go back to certificates and secrets here. Okay. So once again, don't assign the permissions now. Okay. Please don't assign the permissions now. First, we'll have to create the certificates, and then we'll go back to home, and then we'll go to enterprise applications, and from there we will grant these consents. Okay. We'll not do it from here. For other technologies, wherever you're doing for SAML authentications, people, the practice is to directly assign this here, but don't do it now, right? So now select certificates, certificates and secrets. We'll have to create a new certificate. So let's say we'll keep it as migration certificate. Okay, migration certificate. Okay, 6 months are good enough. So this is done. We'll have to copy this value. Okay, we'll have to copy this value once again in our notepad file. So value, and I'm just keeping a note of the name as well, which is this. What is the name? This is for the reference. Okay, good. After this, we're going back to our document. So document. No, this is done. This is done. This we have created, added, successfully created the migration application. Now we'll have to, okay, go back to Azure Active Directory landing page. Click on Enterprise Applications in the left navigation. Okay, now let's go back to home once again. Enterprise application, not app registrations this time. So enterprise applications, okay, as they have mentioned here. In the left navigation, find your migrated application you created, select it, and then select permissions on the left navigation. Click on the grant admin consent for your tenant button. So we'll go here. This is the application that we have created. Okay. And what is that? Enterprise application. Select permissions on the left navigation. Yeah, sorry. Permissions, 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 permissions. Okay. Now from here, we will, it'll give us a pop-up. Okay. And then we'll log in with the same credential that we have, and then accept this, and this is done. Okay. So since this is done, let's refresh this. Okay. Now the new browser window will open and select. You will have to go back to the portal and select a refresh to confirm your acceptance. Refresh. Okay, so now you can see this application has an admin consent granted by an administrator. Good. So we are ready with this. Now you can go back to the portal. Okay, that's done. Formulate the URL to send your trusted partner, which is your source tenant admin this time. Okay, so they can also accept this application to enable mailbox migration. Here is an example of the URL. Okay, so let's copy this URL. We'll paste this URL here. So now here, if you guys see, this URL has a couple of important details that we need to mention here. Now this says a source tenant. The source tenant details has to be mentioned here this time. Okay. Now what we'll do is this source tenant details we will replace with our source tenant details. Let's go back to source tenant details. So now this says cloud red team dot on microsoft.com. Let's copy this. Or if you guys want, see whatever the URL that you have which ends with dot on microsoft.com, this is what your tenant name is. Let's copy the entire tenant name itself in that case. Okay, admin consent. Now this is the ID that we have. So we'll copy the ID, application ID, which we have created. Okay, Control V and redirect URL to https office.com. Copy this. Go back to document once. Couple of notes. You will need the application ID of the mailbox migration application which you have created, which we have already created and copied. You will need to replace source tenant, okay, in the above example with your tenant current on Microsoft, which we have already done. Okay. Now you will also need to replace this with the application ID of the mailbox migration app. Okay, so we have replaced complete along with the brackets. All right. Now this is what we need. Now it says prepare the target tenant by creating the Exchange Online migration endpoint and organization relationship. Now we'll have to connect with the Exchange Online PowerShell. This is how you will connect to the target in the target Exchange Online tenant. Okay. Create a new migration endpoint for cross tenant mailbox moves. So this we have formulated. Point number 23 we have formulated, but we have not given this URL to the source tenant at this point of time. Okay. Now we'll copy this. Okay, we'll copy this details and then we'll have to prepare this details for our destination tenant this time. Okay. Now copy this and we'll open a new notepad file. New notepad file. Okay. Here we have to work very carefully. We need to replace a couple of things. Let's check what. Okay. Now leave this as it is. Leave this as it is, where if this details is equals to true, then enable organization customization. Leave this as it is. Application ID will have to change. Okay. What is that? Where is the application ID? Here. Or you can copy this from your HR portal directly. Okay. Now, credentials, new object type name, system admin, automation, PS, argument, app ID, which we have given here. It will take it from there. Convert to secure string value. So this is your secret password you saved in the previous steps. So we'll remove this. Go back to the notepad where you have this is the value that you have created. Now here password. So application ID. Okay, so it will take from there, and the password it will take from here. Now, so this line is completed. This line is completed. Last one. New migration endpoint. We're creating a new migration endpoint, a remote server, outlook.office.com, a remote tenant. Now we'll have to put a source tenant name. Once again, the source tenant name is, um, you can copy from here also. So let's copy this, the source tenant. let's change this entire information. Okay. Okay. So credentials. Okay. Now this is where you will mention your uh, endpoint name. Okay. This endpoint name will be used couple of times. So make sure that you put it in such a way that you'll know that what is your endpoint name. Okay. In my case, let's mention as migration endpoint. Okay, and then this is for the application ID, which it will take from the system itself. Now, this part is ready. Let's save this. Okay, now let me verify a couple of things. Okay, let's save this as in my documents. Okay, as target dot ps1. Here I'll say all files. Save. Okay, now if you guys go here, this is my one PowerShell file. Now this is ready. Once this is done, okay, once this is done, yeah, once this is done, we will have to open the PowerShell and connect to the target tenant account. Okay, so this is where our PowerShell is. Let's close this and open once again. So we'll run this PowerShell as administrator. Okay, and then connect hyphen exchange online, give them the details of our target tenant, not source tenant. Okay, our blue is our target credentials. So now it is connecting. Good. Now we'll have to go to cd dot cd dot we have to go to cd space users deep desktop ls target dot ps1. Okay. What is the problem? Target via term name command script possible program to the spelling of the name. Strange. Okay. Let's see if good. Looks like something was missing probably. So we'll wait until this completes with an error, or if it completes with the successful results, it will show us the details down here. If it runs, Okay, good. So now if you guys see, we have got the connection point, which is our migration endpoint as per our command prompt details that we have given. It is created. Okay, which is good news. Now, let's go back to the document. Now, we'll have to perform another PowerShell first. Okay, yeah, correct. Now, we'll have to perform this step in a new notepad. Okay, let's open a new notepad. Let's open a new notepad, guys. Okay. Source tenant ID. Tenant ID of your trusted partner, where the source mailboxes are. We need a tenant ID, okay? So we'll go back to the source tenant, portal.azure.com, on your source tenant, okay? So, of course, manage Active Directory. Under overview, this is where your tenant ID is located, not the tenant name. We need the tenant ID here. Let's copy this. Let's paste this here. Okay. Now, this looks fine. This looks okay. This looks okay. Set organization relationship, mailbox enabled, inbound, if null. Okay. Now here on the source side, remember we have created the endpoint migration endpoint. So here we'll have to create a relationship. So let's name this as relationship itself. Remove the brackets, and this is fine, this is fine, and then source tenant ID will be taken from here. Okay, so I don't think we'll have to change this much. Okay, done, 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 done. That's it. Okay. Okay. Now this command, if you guys see, as per the Microsoft, create new or edit existing relationship to your source tenant. But this command will have to run on the target first. Okay, because we are setting up the inbound relationship with the from the source side. Okay. So now after this, we'll have to save this file. Let's save as. So let's mention this as target 2. So we are just segregating the names which we are running on target system, and if we are running some commands on source, we'll put it as source. All right, so target 2 and dot ps1. Okay, let's save this as well, and of course we can close this, minimize this. Let's go to PowerShell and then target 2. Okay, good. So the relationship is also created at this step. Okay. Good. So now we have to open the PowerShell for the source tenant as well. So let's go to PowerShell, run as administrator. Now we are going to the source tenant. Okay. Connect hyphen exchange online. Minimize this. So red team is our source tenant. We'll go to the credentials. Good. Now, after this, what we will have to do is we will have to go to the documentation first. Okay. Now the same command we will have to run in the source tenant as well. Okay, which is strange. Okay, no, actually, this is what we'll have to copy the one step. Okay, okay. After this, I believe so. This part is done, right? Now we'll have to copy this admin consent one, prepare the source, accepting the migration and configuration relationship. From the browser, go to URL link provider by your trusted partner, consent the mailbox migration. So now this time, okay, this is a time when we are opening this URL which we have prepared earlier. We prepared this earlier, okay, here, but we have not implemented the step. So now prepare the source tenant by accepting this. So we'll go to our source tenant now. Is this our source tenant? Yeah, red team R is our source tenant. Paste this URL on the browser. Okay. So red team is the credentials. Accept this, and after this it should be all done. Let's wait for this. Okay, good. So this is fine. This is fine. Where we are. Okay, red team. Good. So this step is completed. Now, after this step, we'll come back to the document. We are setting up our destination ID now. Okay. Again, a new notepad. There's so much of notepads. Paste this. Now, target tenant ID. Target tenant ID will have to copy this time. And the last similar command, we use the source tenant ID. Now we'll go back to our target system. Okay. We'll go back to overview. Sorry, home, view, target tenant ID. And this is the ID, application ID that we have created, which is there in this other notepad. Okay. Now, application ID. Scope name is the email enabled security group that contains a list of users who will be allowed to migrate. Okay, guys, this is an important step. Now, for this, what we have to do is we have to go to source tenant, go to Office 365, go to show all teams and groups. Okay, active teams and groups. Here, mail enabled security is something which is very important. You'll have to create a mail enabled security group. Okay, mail enabled security, and you can name the group maybe migration or whatever that you feel is comfortable or as per your requirement. So admin, I'm saying myself at the moment. Members, all the other members that we need to migrate has to be part of this group. It is very important. Without that, when you're doing the first test, your test will fail, your migration will fail. So whatever users and whoever is a user has to be migrated, the mailbox has to be migrated from source to the destination tenant, has to be part of mail migration group, mail enabled security group. Now we'll have to give the name also, the email ID. Okay, so let's give this name as a migration at the rate cloudredteam.onmicrosoft.com. Good, let's copy this also first for our reference. We'll create this group. Let's go back to Notepad and paste this ID. Good. Now, rest of the things remain same. Um, okay, let's validate everything is okay here. Okay, this is fine. If okay, name of your organization relationship. Remember the name. The name is relationship itself. If you have changed your name, so then you have to keep the same name here as well. I think rest everything looks okay. Nothing else has to be modified. Good. Okay. I'm ready with these commands and now I'll save as this time source dot ps1. Okay. All files, desktop and save. Okay, I can close this now. Did I save this? Target. One second. Save as source.ps1. All files, save. Huh? Okay, good. So here we are, and the document. Okay, so tenant ID, you need to source ID, and target ID is the Geoid in the. Okay, this is fine. Good. So we are ready with the source tab as well. Is this a source? Yeah, this is a source. Destination is this, where we have created this relationship. Okay. Now let's minimize the target and cd space. See, I'm very bad with the commands. Okay, cd space users, Mandeep and desktop. Good. So dot backslash source.ps1. Oh shit. Okay. I have no idea why. Command writer isn't currently allowed in your organization. To run this command, first need to run the command enable organization customization. Okay. I did not run this earlier, but maybe this is one of the requirements. I'm not really sure. So, guys, check this from your side as well. I did not run this last time when I performed this on a production environment. It looks like this is a prerequisite. for the PowerShell to run certain commands, because this is actually changing, is playing on the tenant IDs, is playing on a couple of other things as well. Okay, bad with the commands. Okay, oops, sorry, I was on the right side. Yeah, and desktop. So I ran this command. Which one? Here. Good. So this is done. Okay. Now we need to, in the next step, everything is done till here, till the relationship side. Now, how do we know that this is working? Now we need to test this. Okay. If this test has failed, I'm sorry, but you'll have to delete everything, start from scratch. Okay. Now let's go and test this. After this test, we'll end this video, and the rest of the parts will be continuing on the second video, second part of this video. Okay. Let's test this. Once again, I'm following the same page. Endpoint. So endpoint name. What was endpoint name? Endpoint name was migration. That we can validate as well. And primary SMTP address of mail user object in the target tenant. Okay. Let me just cross check if everything is fine here for the testing. Okay, we are missing one point, but that's not like, it's not like too late or something. This we can perform anytime when we are ready with the other steps. Okay, what we're missing is any migration that you will be doing. Okay, after this part, tell the whatever we have performed is right. There is nothing wrong. What we else we need to do is we need to create the mail user account. Okay, mail user account. If you guys have done some, if you guys are already familiar with hybrid environment, exchange environment, or so then you guys will know that when you perform the migration between on-premise Exchange Server to cloud, or from cloud to Office 365, when your infra is on hybrid environment, so in one of the side you will have mail user created. Okay, the second side will have the details about these mail users. So now we have to create a tenant ID, not the, sorry, not the tenant ID. We'll have to go to Exchange, and we'll have to create a mail user. And these mail users will be created manually, equals to the source tenant details for everybody. Okay, so now, okay, mailboxes. So we'll go to contacts. Okay, and we'll create a mail user. Mail user, right? Yeah, mail user. Okay, now let's go back to our demo user. So we'll match this names. Okay, so demo user 1, demo user 1, display name is demo user 1. So guys, email ID will be your this email ID, the source email address. Okay, so what is the source email address? This is the source email address. Or let's go to Notepad and copy it from there. So we are talking about user 1. It is very important to match the email address. Alias is the login name basically. It is a mandatory column. So it will be having the following the same username in the destination tenant as well. And the password which you want to keep on the destination tenant. Okay, good. So looks like we are ready for the user number one. Similar way, we'll have to create all the other users as well. So let's refresh this, wait for this to come back, and this is the SMTP address that we are looking for. Once again, this is the source tenant email address. Okay, now email address, but the tenant ID with the tenant ID. Okay, go back and paste. Now this thing will have to run, I believe, on the destination tenant to test this. You can verify cross-tenant migration configuration by running test migration already against the cross-tenant migration endpoint you created in the target tenant. Okay. Now let's go to the target tenant and run this. Okay, a position parameter cannot be found that accepts argument. Okay. Target migration server availability endpoint migration endpoint. You know why? You know why? I'll tell you why. This has a problem which I mentioned at the beginning. The space should not be there. This space should not be there as per the documentation. I got scared, guys. Oops. Yeah, this space is required, and then hyphen. No, I think we can run this. Ula. Okay, this got failed. Okay, this is failed. Let's run this once again. It might take some time. Does not have a valid exchange GUID. Okay, good. I know what to do. You need to, and this is where these documents doesn't have the proper information, but it actually has also. So exchange GUID has to be copied from the source tenant. Now what you'll do is you'll go to your source tenant, of course, and then you want to get the details of your source tenant. So the command that you will run is this, which I'll copy here. Okay, so even if you guys are following these steps, okay, these steps we have followed from beginning till here. Okay, now these are the next steps actually, of course, but they have mentioned in such a complicated way that you might get confused. Now we need this, so we were talking about this as an email ID. So let's copy this here. Okay, and we need full list of exchange GUID, legacy name, and archive GUID, guys. This is what you need when you want to migrate the archive detail, archive also, archive folder, archive mailbox as well. So now we don't really need to do that now. Now this guy will run this commands on the, are we on the source tenant? Yeah, source tenant. So we have the exchange GUID and then we have the exchange legacy name. Copy these, copy and paste. Okay, now we'll copy this entity. Make sure, guys, this is the target domain. Okay, so we'll have to set this, but not red, do this time, and ID has to match. This GUID has to match. Okay. Now Control C, and we'll run this on the destination tenant, and it should say okay. Good. Now let's run this command once again for the testing for user one. How it goes. Okay. Remember this. This is also required. So this is the reason we have copied this. I which is showing here. Now what we'll do is on the destination tenant, we are already on Exchange. We'll go to Classic Exchange. Okay, we'll go to Classic Exchange. We'll go to Contacts. As of now, we have created just one contact right now. Okay, which you guys have seen here. Where? Okay, here. But yeah, so we'll edit this. Okay, we'll go to email addresses. We'll say plus. We'll say change this with X500, and the email address this time will be with a one space, only one space, guys. Important, there is only one space. Copy this entire value, okay, and paste this value here, okay. Make sure there is no space. This has one space, and you'll say okay, and save this. Good. Now, looks like now we are ready for the first part of this migration. If we test this, this has to be successful without any issues this time. Okay, it is taking some time to update. It takes like, probably 10-15 seconds. So let's run this command once again, and hopefully this will say successful. Good. So now we have a successful result, which means this migration endpoint is ready to take the migration from source to destination. Once again, what we'll do is we'll perform this for the user 2 as well, and for rest of the users I'll do it offline, okay, just to ensure that everything is fine, and then you guys understand what we need to do. Okay, on the destination tenant, we'll have to create another mail user. Okay, now this is demo user 2. Display name can be anything. Demo user 2. External email address is the email address of the source. So user 2. Okay. Alias is mandatory, so this will be the login name, and login name and domain and password. Okay. So now you guys have this as ready. Okay. So now we'll go back to our this part. Here I'll change this to 2. Okay. Let's move this. This part you'll copy. You go to source tenant to get the details. You will copy these details and okay, note this down that this is for user 2 this time, and exchange UID is this. I understand completely that there is a huge manual work. But if you guys miss one part, your migration is going to fail. Okay, I'm on the destination tenant once again. So I'm setting the identity for user 2, code blue team, nothing to change. GUID I have already changed. So let's paste this also. Oops, did I copy this? What is happening? Strange. So this is done. If you guys see this is failing, so probably your email ID is not correct or there's a space in between or something else. Next part is you'll remove this, match here and put a space, single space. Copy this. This mail user is already created. So you'll go to contacts, you'll refresh this, you'll see demo user 2. Since I'm in the destination tenant, refresh, demo user 2. Edit this, email addresses, edit, no, not edit, sorry, add X500, control V, make sure single space, and make sure no space. Save. Okay, let's refresh this. Okay, now let's run test migration. This time for user 2. This time for user 2. If it fails, which means X500 is taking some time. And if it is not taking some time, since we are running after a few seconds, so hopefully it will be all good. Good. So tested endpoint is migration endpoint. All right. So you when you will start this migration on the target side, you will see this endpoint as well. So let's go to migration. Where is migration? Exchange. You're already on exchange. Migration. So when you'll add this first batch, let's add a test batch. Okay. Migrate to exchange online, which is fine. Migration type. So this time we are going for cross tenant migration. You'll see this endpoint which we have created through the command lines. Okay, this video we are closing it now already because this will be a long video otherwise. So consider this phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1, we guys are ready to perform this activity of migration for 2 users at the moment. You guys have seen that how fast we can perform once the first part is done. This is easier step. Okay, I'll do it offline for all these 5 users and then we'll perform this migration on the next video. Okay, so I'll be closing this video for now and then we'll continue once